Okay, so we're going to look at some questions on computer and calculator. So we have some paper one questions that we're going to concentrate on and see how best we can do them. So this is the first question that we're going to look at. So let us see how best we can do that. So diagram below is an incomplete program flowchart to calculate the curved surface area capital S of a cone with base radius r and slant height L. Complete the flowchart below by writing appropriate statements in the blank symbols. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to understand the formula that is needed to calculate the curved surface area of a cone. So the curved surface area of a cone can be calculated by, so the surface area is given by, so pi r open bracket r plus 1. Like it's supposed to be r plus l, so this is not a 1, it's l. Okay, so where pi, we know pi, then we have r, which is the radius, then we have l, which is the slant height. So now this is what you need. So now let's start. Now in this flowchart they've given us, there are certain things that we need to know and we should be able to put. Now look at begin. So here they've begun. So after beginning, the second thing that should follow is the input. Like, what are you supposed to put? What are you supposed to enter? So in order for you to calculate the curved surface area of the cone, you need to enter the radius and the slant height. So you need to enter the radius and the slant height. So you are supposed to say enter. So enter the radius, which is r, comma, the slant height, which is l. Then once you are done entering those, what should follow next is that you should enter the formula that is used to find the curved surface area of the cone. So the curved surface area of the cone is found by saying pi. Right, so now we said pi r. So if I want, I can so I'll say pi, then there is the multiplication between pi and and r, can denote it as star, then open bracket, then we're going to say r plus l. So we have r plus l. So this is what we have basically. Yeah, so from there then you output your curved surface area. Then after outputting, then what do you do next? You end. So that is how you can actually do that. So this was just a straightforward question that we are supposed to look at. Now let's look at if we can find a more sophisticated one. So let's look at this one. There's another question here. Okay, so the diagram in the answer space, so this one I'm going to say this is the second question. So instead of B, I'll say this is the second question. The diagram in the answer space below is an incomplete flowchart to calculate cos x for the triangle shown below. So this is a triangle here. Then we've been told to say complete the flowchart below by writing the appropriate statements in the blank symbols. So now let's first know what is happening here. How can we find cos x? How can we find the cos x given such? So if you're given the following, you can find cos x by using what we call the cosine rule. So before you can even start answering there, so let's first identify that we can use, there is what we call the cosine rule. So this is a rule in trigonometry that you're supposed to be aware of. So the cosine rule states that if you have the following, c squared So the square of c is the same as a squared plus b squared minus 2ab then cos c. So this is the cosine rule. Now here we're dealing with x, y, and z. So I'm going to replace where there is a, we can do some replacements so that we can see where there is a, we can put x, where there is what, so that we can finally find. Now what we're looking for is cos x. Okay, let's see. We're looking for cos x here. So how do we find cos x? So look at what is happening here. We have c squared, then at the end we have cos c. So in order for us to have cos x here, it means where there is c, there is supposed to be x. So I'm going to say x squared. So if I've put x here, then where there is a, I can put y squared. Then where there is b, I can put z squared minus 2. Remember, where there is a is y, where there is b is z. Then cos what? Cos c x. Now I'm going to say cos x. But the question is that how do I make cos x the subject to the formula? To make cos x the subject to the formula, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap these. So I'll say y squared. Okay, let me do this first so that so what I'm going to do basically is that the negative 2yz cos x will go this side, then the x squared will go the other side. So this is what I'm going to do. So meaning that is going to be positive 2yz cos x should be equal to y squared, then plus z squared, then that was positive x, it now becomes minus x squared. So that is what it becomes. Then from there I'm going to divide this side by 2yz, even the other side by 2yz. So that the 2yz is gone, 2yz is gone. Then cos x will be equal to y squared plus z squared minus x squared, then everything over 2yz. Alright, so this is how you can make x the subject to the formula. Now sometimes you need to be familiar with formulas. So here we've used the cosine rule. Sometimes they might ask you to find using the sine rule, and you should also know the sine rule. Now let us first find out what they want us to find. In order for you to find the value of cos x, what is it that you need to know? You need to know the value of y, the value of z, and the value of x. So let's start. We'll come down here and we check begin. So remember, after begin you're supposed to enter, or you can input. What is it that you're supposed to input or enter? So that time we used enter. Let me use input. So we can say input. We need the value of x, we need the value of y, and we need the value of z. Once we find those, that's when now we can say we can now find what we're looking for. So now we'll say, how do I find that using the cosine rule? So I'll say cos. So cos x is equal to, then I can now, the formula that we have here, this formula that we've made here, I just have to write it to copy it there. So I'm just going to copy it there. Cos x is equal to y squared plus z squared minus x squared, then everything over 2yz. Then look at output cos x, then you end. Yeah, so that's basically how you can do this question. Let us proceed by looking at another question. So this is another question that we're going to look at. Okay, so done with this one that has cos, then we look at this other one. All right. Okay, so this is a question we have. So we don't have okay, so this is the part. This part we don't need it. Okay, the only part that we need is this part. So I'll say this is this is my third question that we're looking at. So in the answer space below is an incomplete program written in pseudocode for calculating the mean of 10 numbers whose sum is s. Complete the program by filling in the blank spaces with appropriate symbols. Right, so that is what we have there. So the question now is, how do we find the mean? How do we find the mean? So this is what we're going to do. Firstly, I want you to know that mean is found by so mean m is found by the sum of the numbers, and we've been told that the sum is s, then divided by how many numbers they are. So they're telling us that there are 10 numbers. So the mean is found by saying s over 10. So let's go and see what they want us to find. So we are here. So we start, enter. What are you supposed to enter in order for you to find the mean? You are supposed to enter the sum, and we've been told to say the sum is capital S. Then mean is equal to the sum, then divided by the number, which is 10. So then you output m, then you stop. So these are the only things that you're supposed to put here in order for you to find the mean. So those were the only things we're supposed to put. So once you put that, then well and good. Okay, hopefully you got one or two things. I'm going to leave you with a question that you can try, just one question on this topic that you should try. So you can try out this question. Yeah, so okay, so yeah, this question, try out this question and see how best you can go about it. So let me just start it on top, then you follow it from where it's starting up to down. So it's starting from here. The diagram below shows a flowchart for a program to calculate tax on an income. So this is the diagram. So I want you to follow the diagram very carefully. So you follow the diagram, then once you are done following the diagram, the question is saying complete the table in the answer space below. So I think the only thing that you need to do is you need to complete the table. So that's all. So you just have to complete the table because the flowchart has already been put for you. So you have to put something here and something there based on the flowchart. So once you do that, then you are well and good. So just follow it, and it will give you a guide. So that's basically it.